All right, so welcome to the first episode of the podcast with Ange. This is something I want to try to do to kind of give us an opportunity to talk, but give us an opportunity to take the authentic life to other areas.
To our family.
Yeah. So I planted a question for this one since it's the first time, and I want you to kind of kick it off, but it'll end up leading us to a discussion from both sides of the table. So do you remember what I asked you to ask me?
No, that's what I was getting ready to say. I thought I just said to you before we started, now what am I supposed to say? And you said, I'll get it started. So now I'm like, crap.
I can handle it. I thought you meant like, what do I want you to say after we start? So What I wanted to talk about with you and what I wanted you to ask me was, how do I think about helping the boys find and live their authentic lives?
Yeah.
So as parents.
So do you want me to say that?
No, we already got it. So as parents, how do we support them in growing into be the versions of themselves they're supposed to? Mm-hmm. And I think like when we first had kids, it was less of a helping them become who they're supposed to be and more of how do I help them become good people? Mm-hmm. And I still think there's the guiding and good people part of it, but like now my perspective is a lot different. Like I would think about it differently knowing what I know today and believing what I believe today.
Well, and because the things that you've learned since they've been alive,
right?
You didn't have that belief system, and you did kind of just innately, but you've learned so much more. Like you tell the boys, like, I wish I had these cheat codes when I was your age and, those types of things. So I think that wasn't originally on your radar when they were first born to be able to begin to help them at a young age. But truly, when they're at a young age, I think the things that are more important are the things that we focus on anyway.
Yeah. Yeah. And I do think that maybe in some things I would have done differently at an earlier age and in the last few years if I knew then what I know now. Like I almost feel like it's not too late with Roman. Mm-hmm. For those who don't know, Roman's 15. And I don't think it's too late.
Should we say who, like the ages of our kids? And
Roman's 15, Leo is 13. We have
3 boys.
And Silas is 8.
Right.
But with Roman, like freshman year of high school, already seeing like less time with mom and dad, going to spring break with him and his friends and their dads, but he's like, I don't want to see you at the beach type of thing. Like
he was like, you don't have to go.
You can just drop us off at the beach and then drive back 20 minutes to the house and come back and get us later. I'm like, no, you're 15 years old. I don't have to be on the beach with you. We don't have to be laying on the towels next to each other.
And we know how limited that time is.
Right.
And I remember everyone saying, once they get into high school, it flies. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, we're already, 2/3, 3/4 of the way through his freshman year. Mm-hmm. And it's like, gosh, it is already flying. So you want that time with him on spring break too.
Yep. So. But what I think I would have done differently in the last few years and even earlier is given him more responsibilities. Mm-hmm. And instead of trying it's not a fault, but what I didn't know at a younger age as a parent was the lack of control we actually have over them and the path they're taking.
And the types of people that they are. Like, right. I think most parents can agree. We have 3 boys that are raised in the same household with the same parents, with the same values, but they are all 3 very distinct, different children in the ways that we parent them, in the ways that we discipline them, in the ways that their personality is and how they react to the discipline and the responsibility. Like they are all very uniquely different. And mm-hmm. I feel like I remember you either read this somewhere or you saw something somewhere that said, like, you are who you're going to be. Mm-hmm. And no matter what we do as parents, like their personalities are going to be who they are. And mm-hmm. that is hard. Like we don't have that control is kind mm-hmm. of what you're saying.
And especially when, from my perspective and my experience, there are things, qualities, attributes about people that I think set you up for success.
Right.
And when one of the boys doesn't display that, mm-hmm.
It's frustrating.
It frustrates me. Mm-hmm. And what I have to accept is I can't force them to understand. I'm all about transparency. Roman, accountability is not his strong suit. Mm-hmm. I know how valuable holding yourself accountable for yourself is important in life, but mm-hmm. also to others. And holding myself accountable and even taking accountability for other people because they feel uncomfortable has been a good thing for me. And I know that translates well for everybody. Everybody being accountable for themselves is a positive thing.
But also thinking about who we were at 13, 14, 15 years old, even though we emphasize that with him and we work with him on that, did we have the same type of accountability? You think you did? I don't know. I don't know if
I had more
did.
accountability. Like if I think about like on the basketball court, if I made a bad pass, if I made a good pass and my teammate flubbed it, no problem. That's my bad. That's a bad pass. Like I didn't make the bad pass, but I'm going to take the blame for that because I can process that and absorb it and not get in my feelings. And I know that if I get on you, you're probably going to get mad at me. So I would much rather take the blame for that bad pass and move on to the next thing so there's no issues. Roman's going to let you know that it was your fault.
But and not to beat down on Roman.
No,
he's
this
just
is
the
one
oldest,
example.
so
This is one example.
Right, and we always tell him he's the oldest, so he's held to a higher standard. But the accountability part, even at home, we always try to say like, there's a lot of like freedom in saying I'm wrong and like it just like to say I messed up, I made a mistake, I'm sorry, like I shouldn't have done that. I don't feel like, because I do like to be right, and I don't feel like I came into owning it and saying like I did make a mistake. It was always like if I own up to making a mistake, it means that like I did something wrong and that I'm not that I'm not a good person, but that I'm not who I think I am. So I think like through like teenager and college years, I think fessing up to messing something up or doing something wrong was almost looked at as like a weakness. And so I can understand where he comes from, but I think obviously like I was raised in the 90s, and so it was a very different type of disciplining, and like we've talked about like, and my dad knows this, we were scared of him as kids, and that's something you've always said, I don't want my kids to be scared of me. But at home there was 100% accountability, but I think outside of it and amongst friends I can see myself where owning up to being wrong about something was almost more like a weakness. So I think as I've got older and I got to recognize and realize there is so much just like weight off your shoulders, and like I said before, just so much freedom. And that's what I feel like we've always tried to instill that in him. It's okay to make a mistake. That's how you learn. You make a mistake, you learn about it, you move past it, and you're stronger for it. So I don't know. I kind of went off on a tangent.
No, that's fine. I'm going to ask you to be careful pounding the table because it moves the camera. Did
I do it multiple times?
You banged your leg on it and then you're tapping it, and I'm just watching the camera.
It's like I'm not even meaning to.
I'm watching the camera shake. So we're giving people at home watching on YouTube earthquake cam.
Sorry.
If you just no big deal, but just aware of it. But so in all of that, I don't know that tangent was perfectly fine. Like this is what this conversation is supposed to be. It's not scripted. It's here's the topic. Let's talk about it. But it's accepting that we can tell Roman about the importance of accountability, and and Leo and Silas. Like we tell them all. They all hear it. Right. One example. All of our boys are great. We love them all. So it's not that one of them is a problem. Right. But we can't force any of them to understand that, and they're going to have to learn it on their own. And that's to me, that's the tough part is we
don't want them to feel pain to have to figure those things out.
And I feel like I've already learned this through life. So learn from my experiences to make your experience smoother and easier. And the sooner you learn this, like that's the cheat code. These are your mindset. If you can control your mind and be optimistic and see positive and, process negative emotions, but then not let them keep you down and get yourself back right thinking on positive things, that's going to set you ahead of so many people because like it takes people till they're 40 to figure this stuff out. Yeah. I don't expect them to know it at 15, 13, and 8, but we're
planting the seeds earlier than they were planted.
If we can help them, even if they can realize all of that and what they need to realize for their lives at 30, if we can give them 10 more years of understanding these things that really can't be taught, they can be explained, but they have to be experienced. But
there's so much, I think, of the things that we do try to teach them that they won't have that aha moment until they've experienced something that they do have to learn. And then they're like, shit, Dad, Mom and Dad were right.
I wish they don't have to have the aha moment. I wish they just accept it. Like, okay, look what Mom and Dad.
That's life.
Look at Mom and Dad have been able to create for themselves and for us, the life that we have. They might know something. Like we have a pretty great life. We have a lot of love in our family, extended families as well. Yeah. We have a roof over our house, a roof over our heads, a nice roof, like everything we could ever want, we have.
Right.
And not that determines success, but from a young person's mindset, that is what we look at for determining, oh, that person is doing something right. So I just wish they'd like look around and be like, okay, mom and dad know a little something. We have a great life. Maybe we should listen to them more. Is my hope. So I think that the first thing of like how we help them grow into their authentic selves is probably me more than you, like relinquishing control. Not giving them free reign, but also not getting as frustrated or upset when they don't when they don't do the things that I think are setting them on the right path.
If they don't do it the way you would do it now.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like you think in your mind, this is how, if I were them, this is how it should play out. If they don't follow that, I do think that there is like that level of frustration.
So I think that's like, I'll never forget when we had Roman, and as he got old enough to like play on the playground and things, I was way more of a helicopter dad than I ever would have imagined. Like I didn't want him to fall and I didn't I don't want him to feel pain. And I don't think I would have changed that at a young age, but now I have to let him have some pain.
I think a lot of parents are like that with a first child. And it's like, what we say about Silas.
I'm still always like Silas hits the monkey bars, I'm right there to catch him. I don't want him falling and breaking his arm.
But I think it's less with each child because you do realize how resilient they are, and with every child you give up a little bit more of that helicopter type parenting.
So I think step one, and I think this is more for me, I think you're better at it than I am, is just giving them the space to figure things out on their own. Like keep putting it in front of them. Like they have a stack of books I think they should read, but I'm not forcing them to read it. I am forcing them to read the mindset book with George Mumford.
Has Leo started it?
We're reading it, the three of us. Yeah, we've read 10 pages. So every night we're going to read 10 pages.
And I'm reading Charlotte's Web with Silas.
So I do think there are, I do want to force a little so that later in life, hopefully, I hated when Dad made me read those books together, but I'm so glad he did. But then also,
but it's just planting seeds.
Not force too much.
It's planting seeds now, so when they do reach some sort of adversity, they can go back to that card catalog in their brain of, okay, I remember this, and Dad telling me this or reading this. You just kind of leave the breadcrumbs, if you will, of the things that you hope that they come back to when they do get to a point where they need it, So giving up some control and letting them figure things out on their own while still putting as many breadcrumbs. I always said seeds, planting seeds and create a forest for them to walk into that tree. But same thing. So doing this so that is possible. I think another thing that we don't have to spend a lot of time on is I think they learn more by observation than what we tell them. So living and doing the things that one day I hope they do as well. So I'm going to force them to read A Mindful Athlete. I'm not, as much as I want to, I'm not going to force them to start sitting in meditation. But I have my meditation pillow over there. They'll see me sometimes. They'll see it. And they will from
Roman
time to time. Yeah.
Thank you to, what's his name on the...
Jared
McCain.
Jared,
thank you to Jared McCain because he got Roman to meditate and journal and do some stretching for a week and a half this summer.
It didn't last very
long.
And
I sent Jared a DM on Instagram, just hoping he might see it and just say thank you. I've been trying to get him to do this.
Which that's an NBA player that Roman really likes, and he kind of vlogged the things that he does and things that, like you said, are kind of, and that's the thing I think that's tough. It's just like what you've said before, like with coaching our kids, it's tough to be their coach because they're more comfortable with you. They don't listen to you as well. It's nice when the seeds that you're planting, other people that they look up to or that is not a parent is doing those things and almost placing those people somehow in their life or in front of them because they're more likely to follow them than they are us because we're their parent.
So that'll bring me to the next one. So unless you have more comments on being the example, I think being the example is always going to carry more weight, even though it's harder because you don't feel like they're paying attention, they are. So being the example, showing them the things that you like. If I'm telling you to do it, I should probably be doing it myself. Another one would be, you kind of alluded to it, the old saying, it takes a village. Creating a very good network of people who can be who can be that example. And my coach Phil, who I'm actually recording a podcast with tomorrow, he told me that he has 3 boys. They're older. 2 of them are in college, and one's maybe a freshman high school too, around Roman's age. Okay. But they each he almost picked kind of like, I think it was 2 or 3. We'll call them kind of like mentors that his sons would kind of do stuff with over the years. And then like when they turned 18, there was like almost kind of like a rite of passage with those guys, which was really cool. Yeah. And we've kind of done that, but not with as much intention. But I do think one of our greatest gifts we can provide to our kids and help them is our network. And I look at, since we were picking on Roman a little bit about like accountability, some of the cool things that Roman has experienced because of my network, going to New York City with
Chris Brickley,
a Division I player who will be in the NBA one day, and get 2 workouts with Chris Brickley. Like that experience is because of Nas, who's like a brother. Yeah. And Sam looks out for Roman. And the first time that I went to Atlanta with Nas to go see Sam when they were opening up the Pilates studio, Nas hopped on Roman was with me. Yeah, Roman came with me. And before we left to go to the airport to come home, Nas had a conversation with him talking about, how Jaleel practiced and what he did to get there. We come home.
Nas came out here and watched Roman play and had conversations with him about, different things.
And when we come home, Roman has now got a workout routine that he's doing because of that conversation with Nas. All stuff that I've said, but because it came from Nas, it's more important. Or Justin Ochoa,
that was the other one that I was going to say.
Like, so we have these great people in our lives because they're great people and we're friends with them, but they also are great influences on the boys. And one day Nas is going to call me up and he's going to have an awesome opportunity with soccer for Leo to go train with some soccer player. But it's really cool. And I never thought about that. And I have been able to build a tremendous network.
But like you said, it never was with an intention of I'm on the lookout for good people who can indirectly be mentors to my children, or people that can influence my children with their words and with their actions. But just because of the person that you are and the people that you have befriended, we have that ability. And again, I think more so you, because not that women can't be mentors to men, but I think I like the idea of our boys at the ages that they are having other men that they are receiving feedback from. And because I have someone in my life that I've always thought of as a mentor, definitely a very great friend, but she's a woman. And I just feel like I gravitate towards her because of like her life experiences. And shout out to Marnie. I was
going to do it if you didn't. I was going to give Marnie the love.
Yeah. But just her life experiences and where she is in her life and what she's done with her career and with her family and all the things she does with her family. I feel like I gravitate towards a woman. So that's why I feel like I don't have as many male friends that could serve as something that we're talking about with our boys. So I think definitely more your network than mine.
And now I'm back to the building of the network of people who can help in these new areas. Like I think about like Ishik, having Ishik meet with the boys as they get older to learn how to better tap into their intuition. Right. Like I can tell them that, but like I'm not a coach in that area. Right. But now I know
a different skill set.
Right. Now I know somebody, but that just was a natural connection that came from a community, and she was on the podcast and you met with her. Like, so now Ishik's in my circle of people that can, help my clients collaborate on content, but also be good influences and good resources for the boys to help them. So I think that
putting the right people in their lives.
We're the average of the 5 people we hang out with. Like there's that saying, but also think of like that's for yourself, but also think about as a parent, who are the people that I'm surrounding and how can they help support my kids, because they may be able to reach them and help them in a way that we can't because we're mom and dad. But
that's partially one of the reasons that Roman and you kind of chose the high school that he went to was based on looking at who the coaches are.
Right. Coach was.
I know.
We may get into that before the video's over. Okay, so that's another one. So, and it ties back to control. But I also think another thing is giving them agency to make their own decisions, and even big ones. So we'll stay on the theme of Roman. Next episode, we'll focus on Leo or something. But Leo could be one.
I was going to say, I feel like with Leo, he made the choice. We didn't make it for him of where he was going to play soccer.
Yeah.
Like, he could have stayed on the team he had always been on, but he made the choice to try out for a new team. And he also has the choice right now, because he's in 7th grade. If he stays on this team, he doesn't get to play high school soccer. And he knows that some of his teammates will be leaving when they get to high school because they want to play high school soccer. So he definitely has, and obviously they have more choices than just athletics, but because that's a huge part of both of their lives, I think those choices are something that we've given them kind of the freedom of, and you say this to Roman a lot, if this is what your goal is, I'm going to support you and help you get to that goal. If that's no longer your goal, then fine. But with Leo, same thing. We know what his goal is, and if he wants to reach that goal, we're going to support him wherever he wants to go and however he wants to, maintain where he plays to reach that goal. So I think Leo has also made bigger decisions, for a 13-year-old in relation to the sport. Yeah.
And I think allowing them to make those decisions. I also think helping them gather information.
Yeah. And to know what their options are,
And then again, having them talk to others. So Roman choosing to go to the other high school in the corporation because of the program and the opportunity there. Like, I gave him what I thought, but he also talked to Justin, and Nas also gave him feedback, and he talked to his uncle Tony. Like, there were people that gave him information, so that in a situation like now where the head coach, which was one of the main reasons we wanted him to be there, who's leaving, he still had he has ownership in that decision. And like part of my fear yesterday when we found that out was I didn't want him to be mad at me, because I didn't want him to be like, you told me to go to Fisher's because all of his friends are at HSE. Right. I still think going to Fisher's, even with the unknown of what's going to happen, is better for his basketball goals.
And I also think he's thriving education-wise.
Right.
And not that he wouldn't at HSE, but it's not like he's gone to Fisher's and that side is negative. Like, he's had really great teachers. He's getting great grades. He's learning a lot. He's kind of figuring out what he wants to do once he gets out of high school, or once he wants to do with his career, and he's kind of forging.
What did he tell you?
He wants to be in finance. He wants to do stocks. Yeah.
So that totally is a little sidebar. That totally today actually made me rethink everything that I'm doing for my business. Not in a bad way and changing things, but for so long, my business has been more of a lifestyle business. Have a great group of clients I work with, work really hard for them, but have a lot of work-life balance. And then one day, like, the business will, maybe one day way, way down the road, I would sell it or not even worry about it. My clients pass away, it declines. But I never thought about building the business for the boys to come into. And Leo wrote something in school that he wanted to be a soccer player or a financial advisor, not a doctor, not a teacher. So now that they're both saying that, even now, a lot can change. It makes me rethink, okay, do I need to look at building this business to be more sustainable for the long term? Do I need to focus on building infrastructure that if they really do want to come into this profession, they can come in at the ground and work their way up, but the business can support them? And that was never a part of my business
I feel like
plan.
it seems so natural for Roman, though, to go that route, because he's always been a numbers kid. Like, he's always, remember when he was like 5 years old on car rides, he'd be like, Mom, give me math problems. Yeah. And I'd be like typing it into my cell phone, plus this, times this, minus this, and he'd give me the number instantly. Yeah. Like, he's so just his brain works that way. And I feel like he's entrepreneurial too. Like, I don't know. When he told me that, I was like, that actually fits and seems very natural for him.
Which would be cool. Yeah. So another thing is, having those conversations, and I think as they get older, encouraging them to explore. I don't know if Roman really likes the idea of finance, or he just looks and sees and it's okay.
That's what's in front of him because that's what you do. Yeah.
So I want him to explore that, but also I now want to be in a position to give him a leg up because I'm in a position to do so. Yeah. To not have to struggle finding that first job. If he wants to come into the business, grow it in a way that he has a place to come into and grow, or leverage my network. Oh, like go work with Nas. He's working with athletes. So you can stay connected to the sport that you love, do something that you like. It doesn't have to be with me. But I do want to encourage them to explore different things. And I don't want them, should they come work with me in the future.
It's funny because we've never even talked about him potentially working, or it's never been a conversation, but just through him being in high school and, you know, taking business classes and just different things. And it was a class that I feel like he had to do. Remember how you take tests and it was like what you'd be good at type thing. I feel like that kind of put that in his mind, but it had never been anything that he had really expressed or that we had really put on him before. So
I would say the next thing would be encouraging them to explore their interests and encouraging them to pursue those passions just to see, because I'm a big believer that interests are one thing, but to me, passions are a higher level. Like passions are passions for a reason, and they hold a lot of information to it and truth behind it. So I want them to explore it, even if they can't see how it could turn into anything. Like I don't care. Like for a while, Roman loved editing video. I would have loved for him to pursue that more, just to see, is that something you want to do more of, or is it just something you did for the moment? So I think that as they get older, I definitely want to help them discover whether or not finance makes sense to them. But I want to give them the room to explore other things. Like go try something else.
Yeah.
And see if you like it. Use your interest, use the things that you think you have a passion for to kind of direct you to what you're going to try, but go do that. And then if finance is it, I think that I'm in a unique position to be able to provide them an on-ramp into their professional careers. And what made me think about it was a Rich Roll podcast I was listening to today, which I'm going to pause for a second.
Okay.
And then come back and talk about the Rich Roll podcast. So it was with the two guys that wrote the book, Design Your Life. And they were Stanford professors, I think. And what made me connect the dots between, okay, the boys mentioned they like finance a little bit, interested in it. And me being an entrepreneur with the possibility to build something that could sustain. I also would love for my pursuit vision, the podcast, the book, the like that to be an option as well. But the Stanford professor said his prediction was, I think it's maybe the next 9 or 10 years, the number one like program degree at Stanford would be poetry and creative writing. And his argument for it was that all the other programs that are number one today, like finance and law and all these other things, like entry level out of college, those jobs may not exist like they have in the past because of technology, AI, all that type of stuff. So if you're going to, those who still to continue to go to college in the future, because I think maybe a lot of people won't, you may not need to, because you can go directly into another career without the 4-year
degree.
You don't need it, and you don't need all of the finance behind it that could be, a burden to some people. But if I do go to college and those jobs don't exist, I might as well major in something that I enjoy, and I enjoy creativity. And
what do you do with that though professionally?
Well, I mean, if you look at right now in the job marketplace, like the creator economy is booming. There'll be a lot of creators who fail. And I'm not talking about influencer creators, but like take for example, my friend Jay Klaus, his creator lab community, and he has courses and he has a podcast and he's doing speaking. Like as a creative person, you can create. It could be writing. There might be a premium in the future on authors because so much of it's going to be shortcutted and written by AI that people will value. Just even knowing. We talked about this
the other night, like the premium on people.
Yeah, they'll just pay. There will be some people who will like to know that this was an original thought from a human being, and that they will seek that out. But also, I think with technology and all these other things, you can build. It doesn't take much to build a business that's viable. There's an article, 1,000 True Fans. You think about trying to get 1,000 fans sounds like a lot, but you think about the number of people that are in the world. Getting 1,000 people who like what you're about and what you might be able to offer, you charge a small amount for whatever it might be, and it provides value to their life, you can have a good business. Yeah. And so I think that part of it also is going to be a shift in like, what do people really want out of life? Like, okay, one generation was told you need to have the big house, you need to have the fancy cars, all of those things. I don't think that those milestones are going to be as important for some people. When you look at right now, the younger generation, they're not like buying a home is not something they're rushing to do?
Well, because they can't.
Right. So it's not.
Well, that's
but what they're
I'm
learning
thinking.
is you don't need the big home to be happy. I can't afford the big home. I'm in an apartment or a townhome or whatever, and I have a great life.
Yeah.
So now this narrative of white picket fence is your key to happiness is now been thrown out. I can have enough money to live in an apartment, have a good, happy life, and I only need to work 20 hours a week creating a newsletter that I make money through advertising. And maybe I do 1 or 2, 3 retreats a year with people who read my newsletter, and it's all centered around the stuff that I'm interested in, they're interested in. And those people all pay $5,000 for this experience that provides a lot of value to them, connects them with like-minded people. And between the newsletter and the retreat, I make enough money to provide for today and prepare for the future. Like, I think it's going, like, perspective on what we really need and what we really want is going to change. And what that ties into the authentic life. Like, if you know who you are and what you're supposed to do and what your unique gifts and talents are and what's most important to you, then you can begin to reverse engineer the financial component of things. And if you're clear and if you know, then you don't worry about keeping up with the Joneses. You don't worry about chasing more money than what you really need. You can figure out, hey, to live the life I want, I only need this much. I always thought I needed this. Then that would be great. If I can do what I love to do and get up here, awesome. Right. I can be more charitable, whatever. But I don't need to strive for that. I can live a good life. I get to determine what my success is. And for some people, success may not be $10 million net worth.
But do you think, and this is me being devil's advocate because I like to do that. Do you think that, because what you're saying is you feel like that's what we're moving towards, but do you think that you're looking at that through a lens of that's the world that you are in, and so that's...
Oh, it's totally my perspective.
Because I still see so much of the social media world where everyone wants to only have the big things for the one picture, and then who cares? And it's like...
But I think...
I hope it gets away from that.
I'm totally telling this story from my perspective. And I'm totally talking my book and what my beliefs are. And I'm not very much to somebody say that I'm right, like I'm open, but I feel that I'm right. I feel like there is a shift, and
I
that
hope there,
it's
I want there to be
moving more towards authenticity,
and
people,
the experiences of life versus the things of life.
People are tired of the fake of social media, and social media in some of the platforms is just dumpster fire. Yeah. But I don't, and maybe it's just my view, but I don't see the influencers like it used to be a few years ago, because I think people... Well,
you don't see them in your feeds like you used to, because that's not what you're engaging with.
But if more
people,
those influencers aren't in enough feeds, then they're not valuable enough to the companies to pay them. And then the influence, and I just think it's people being tired of it. People realizing that it's fake. Seeing the influencers online and then seeing them around town, and it's not a match. You can tell that all those pictures were, photoshopped and airbrushed, and the happy.
I think they airbrush anymore.
Whatever. Well, I mean, airbrush on like the filters. Filters.
Yeah.
Like, you realize that that's not real, and then you lose.
Well, and I also think, and we're getting totally off topic with not talking about our kids, but I think that the reality of people realizing this stuff is not what life is about. And they tried all this stuff, and they tried to make it seem like they have this wonderful life, but at the end of the day, no one knows really what happens behind closed doors. And I think people realize that the stuff is not what makes you happy in life. It's the people in your life and your children and your experiences. And so I also, like with my business, I obviously had to do social media a lot, but since closing my business, I don't even get on social media every day. And if I do, I go to my old group of boutique owners just to give tips on things or to answer questions. I don't scroll because it's not important to me anymore. I don't know.
It was a good tangent, and I let us down that path. But I mean, it still all ties into it. Also helping them realize that what they see on social media isn't real, and also don't tie your value to what is seen on social media. But I also think that our children
use social media very differently than we do. Like, I think for them, it's more entertainment. And it's a lot of like sports. Like, sometimes I'll just sit on the couch next to them just to see what's their algorithm, what's it serving them, and it's 95% sports.
But I do think that our boys risk finding some of their self-worth and value from social media, and not necessarily from like the likes and the comments, but from the highlight reels and who's going to this camp or that camp, even though the camps are money grabs. Like there's so many.
I don't see that with Leo. I don't think Leo cares about that.
I don't think he cares as much, but I think as he gets older,
maybe
he might.
Again, a difference in personality.
Yeah.
But I don't see him caring about who goes to what camp. Like he's just very like, I am who I am, and I don't care what other people think about me, and which I love that about him.
All right, is there anything else that you can think of that you think is important for us to do to help the boys, so we be the example, give them space to make decisions, network, encourage them to explore?
I think also, and this is something I think we have always done, is really trying, when they show an interest in something, really trying to like foster that. Like, I mean, Roman loved to draw when he was little. And so letting him, he would get on and do all these drawings, and he wanted to set up a Instagram page, and he used to show his drawings off there. And like Silas, similarly,
He wants to do WWE YouTube channel.
Yeah, like he's very into WWE. And so because that's not, which, kids get obsessed with things for 10 minutes. Silas, his obsessions last. And when he's obsessed with something, he is all in. And I think just, even though it's something silly, if it's an interest of theirs, really help them continue down that path of learning about it and growing with it. And like you taking him to the different WWE shows and even like, Silas has always been very creative. We put him in little art classes for a while, and just things that if they show an interest in it, just trying to always help them reach their potential with it. If it's something that they enjoy.
I agree. Supporting those interests and passions and pouring into it.
Yep.
Which is all the parents know, like that can get expensive.
Yeah.
But that to me
doesn't have to though.
It could probably be less expensive than we might make it, but there is usually going to be some type of expense, whether it is the art class or experiences to foster it. But does Silas need to have 30 WWE toys in like a 6-month period? Probably not. But that's something that's important to me. Like that's part of my values, and part of what's important to me from the financial side of aligning everything is I want to be able to pour into the boys, to give them every opportunity to enjoy and experience and help them move in the direction they want to go. So last year we spent a lot of money on travel for sports. We'll spend a decent amount on it this year as well, with AAU and soccer and the leagues themselves, and then the travel and the hotels. But that to me is important. That's why I work hard. Like I'm okay not having a bigger house because we have way more than we need, but like not having another house so we can go do those things. To me, that's important.
Well, those are our little mini getaways.
Yeah.
We really can't go on vacations anymore.
Crappy hotels for soccer. I agree. I think there are more ways to pour into them and support them. And one of the best ways is just encouragement. Like telling them they're good at it, telling them to keep doing it, finding ways to foster that. That doesn't always have to be money. You're right. There are ways to do it without money. You don't have to have money to support your kids and encourage them to try those things. And the final thing is I just think like, let them know that they're loved. Like that's a big part of it as well. Even though they don't want to hug us, even though they have no problem going to bed.
Leo and Silas still are huggers. Roman is not a hugger. He'll say, give me more screen time. I'm like, what are you going to do for me? He's like, I'll hug you. I'm like, I don't want a pity hug.
But I just think I think that from a lot of what I've read and a lot of what I've seen, like that is the best. That is of all of the things we've listed.
Yeah.
Like that is the most important. And I think that it's easy to lose sight of how important that is because you don't see the immediate turnaround, and like the not feeling love really shows up later in life. Like that's the thing that doesn't keep me up at night, but just knowing that so many people's struggles in life come back to childhood trauma. And
they have not had any childhood.
But that's the thing. But that's right. That's the thing. We have done everything we can to keep them from having childhood trauma. But even in that, there is still childhood trauma but we didn't mean to inflict on them. And that's.
But I think as kids, we always felt loved. And so for us, it's innate to just show it as well. You know, like we both grew up in households with two parents and had grandparents and extended family that we spent a lot of time with, and our cousins, and like family was always very important to both of our families. And so I think we just naturally, that is who we are. And so I think that our kids are growing up feeling that, and they also have all four of their grandparents, and they see their grandparents and they see their cousins and their family often because we're all here. I don't know. I just feel like it's for them, they don't know a life that's not like that. And I think they also don't know a ton of kids that don't also have that life. So we definitely live in a bubble community that it's just natural to feel a lot of love from, and again, I digress because this is going back to like, it takes a village. Like I think of like the kids that I carpool for soccer. Like we've had difficult conversations in the car about Haley Busby and like just things that I'm like, and I'll tell the parents like, hey, this is what we talked about in our half-hour drive. And we're always like, it takes a village. And I'm glad that your kids and you as parents are a part of my village. And I don't know where I'm going with this. I just feel like it's something that our kids are used to living in a community where parents also pour into them and of their friends. And like, we love our kids. They're really great friends. And like, they are just very fortunate to grow up in the community that we're growing up in, because I think they feel a lot of positivity and love in our home and in all of their friends' homes and in their grandparents' homes and their aunts and uncles' homes. Like it just grows. So I think they are very fortunate because it's not like that everywhere. So
yeah, that was a tangent off of they've lived lives that we would think doesn't have any childhood trauma. But the crazy thing is there's like, they will each have something. It won't be as bad as what other kids may have, but it could be like Roman's narrative is that he always got picked on and it wasn't fair. And like, but like,
he always got picked on. He's the one doing the picking.
But what I'm saying is like, because we hold him to a higher, like who knows what narrative is being created in his head that becomes a little bit of a trauma. I don't think
they'll have any sort of trauma. I'm saying it now.
No, I mean, I hope they don't.
What was your childhood trauma?
That's
what I mean.
Right.
Like, but you don't even remember your childhood.
I remember parts.
You always say, I don't remember. I
do remember being loved. Like I do remember that. And I have memories of childhood, but like, yes, I can't think of anything that would be a trauma. Like I felt loved all the time. And I think that's part of what overcomes it. But I also know that there are a lot of people who came from loving households that have something that, it ends up being a narrative. So anyways, I think the most important thing is just to like make sure they know that they're loved. And every once in a while you get glimpses back that like they do feel that way. And like one of my favorites is Silas's notes that he saves from his lunchbox.
I just love every day when he walks in the door. How was your day today, Mom? He's just so sweet. And maybe it's because he's still little, but I'm like, oh, please don't ever lose that sweetness. And I've always said that about Leo too. Like Leo has always been sweet, and he's 13, and I still feel like he will hug me every single morning before I leave. At night, I go in his room. He'll give me a hug when he's going to bed. Like, Leo and Silas still show it. Roman's just too cool. Which that's what happens, I guess, with 15-year-olds. But
all right. I know we got electricians coming soon, so we should probably wrap up so they can fix the street light. But I thought this was a great first episode. I think it just went by. So this is what I want. And I want to do this like once a month. Have a topic for us to discuss, but it will be about bringing the authentic life to our family, and then we'll just see where conversations go. But I think this is helpful. For whatever reason, I love sharing what I'm doing, sharing my family. I hope it helps other people, and it's cool to have your perspective in as well. So thank you for joining me.
Yeah, thanks for asking me. See you in a month.